Talk about the three P's, what I call the three P's of making a movie, which is production, which we're all aware of. That's when you're on production, you're actually filming, and that's what most people think of as part of the movie process. But there's also pre-production and post-production. So the three P's, they go together. So you can't just show up on site, on a production site, get your camera out and your film and just start filming. Unless you're doing a documentary, then you're kind of going and stuff like that. So pre-production, a lot of people kind of skip over that. They don't understand how important pre-production is. So for me, it's going to the location, it's staging the location, it's making sure that the props are set up correctly. I'm going to go home, I'm going to go on my camera settings, I'm going to write down on my script on a side. So I have a binder and I have my script, and so on the other side of my script, I'm going to be having, the shots that I'm taking. Am I using my gimbal? And if you don't know what a gimbal is, it's where I take and I put my camera on a stabilizer so I can follow people moving, and I can actually move the camera with people without it looking all jumpy. Or am I going to have it on a tripod and pan people, or just have a still shot? Am I doing close-ups? Am I doing wide shots? Who am I filming behind? If I'm doing a conversation with people, say I have two people, right? So I'm going to film one direction over this person, and I'm going to go on and film one direction over this person. Then I want to get them both in the same shot together, and I'm going to film the entire scene from all these different directions. And that may take more than one day, depending on people's schedule. Sometimes people only have a few hours to film and stuff at a time. So, and in my movie with The Beauty of Forgiveness, Henry, he was very elderly, and so he could only film for a limited amount of time before he couldn't film anymore for that day. So we filmed this scene with Henry over a course of 3 days. So the first time we filmed at the end of the bed with both the pastor and Henry together, and then we would film over Tommy looking at the pastor, and then over the Henry and stuff. And so then you would also want to make sure we get lots of tight shots, lots of close-ups. I want to follow the pastor moving into the room. I want to make sure I get a mixture of movements and camera angles so that when I go into post-production, then I'm able to splice them all together and make the scene that tells the story. Because you don't want to just have a static camera. That's very boring. You've seen those old wedding videos where the camera just sits at the end and it films. So that's not good. You want to be able to make sure that you tell the story, and when you're on production, that you're capturing everything you need to capture, because we film a movie out of order. So it's not filmed by, from the beginning to the end. It's filmed, for me, the way I film is by location. So I may have a location for 3 days. I got to film every scene that takes place at that location while we have it.